Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to announce that the pre-order is up for The Woman at the Gates. That is the name. And anybody who has been following my author journey since August last year, where I just had the seed of an idea, will know this as my working title was Red Hot Borscht. But this has become an epic that I am truly proud of. I'm really delighted to bring this book out to you guys. I'm so happy. So what I'm going to do today is present to you the prologue. And this is for The Woman at the Gates. It was Constantine who evoked the memory of apricots, a memory so strong the air suddenly bloomed with the golden, sun-warmed scent. Antonia pulled her nephew closer to her, like a cushion against the impact, and dropped the children's picture book flat onto her lap. She remembered the carelessness of that sweet, perfumed juice running down her chin, the feel of her lover's finger catching that drop and putting it to her lips. And she remembered the apricots that had sustained her sister's family on a horrible journey into darkness. Antonia impatiently rubbed at the sting of tears. With all that she had confronted, with all that they had survived, she was going to cry over apricots? The memory of apricots? No, the memory of that apricot orchard. Her home, her life, him. Antonia's nephew pulled himself away, the metal bed frame squeaking as he shifted. And cherries, he added. I miss apricots and I miss cherries. On Antonia's other side, Nestor yawned. He was still too young to remember apricots from Ukraine, or the tart summer cherries for that matter. Nestor was too young to read, but his finger moved along the pages of the German picture book titled Unser Bauernhof, Our Farm. Except it wasn't their farm. Their farm was in the Carpathian lowlands, in the village of Sadove High. Here, beyond the lead-paned windows of the castle attic, it was the Bavarian hillsides that Antonia looked upon. Nestor pointed to the word for cherry tree in German. Kirschbaum, Constantine read. Kirschbaum, Nestor repeated, then went back to the small orange circles on the initial illustration. Marillenbaum. To prevent herself from succumbing to a second gut punch, Antonia pressed Nestor to her. And you? What is it that you miss? As soon as it was out of her mouth, she covered his ears and kissed his head. Nestor's only memories would be the scratchy, dark, and noisy ones of war. He'd known nothing else. Outside the dormitory rooms, the wooden floorboards creaked from the staircase to the corridor as if on a ship. The others, displaced persons, as the Allied forces officially called them, were heading up from the dining room. Some had spent the evening playing cards, or the old guitar from the music room. Others had sat in the castle gardens and listened to the crickets, thanking God they had survived. Or, more likely, wondering why they had. The children were being children. Instead of parents covering their mouths to hush them against discovery or to prevent a beating or capture by Nazis or Soviets, these children and their parents now loudly negotiated the brushing of teeth. Tomorrow they would live to see another day, and that was why they pursued the frivolity with such passion. As the boys fought to turn the next page of the picture book, Antonia tuned into the orchestra of Eastern European languages, Polish, Latvian, Lithuanian, Czech, Russian, and Ukrainian, all intermixed in this old castle in Bavaria, just a short drive to Berchtesgaden, a short drive to Hitler's bunker, now secured by American troops. Antonia coughed, and the boys gave her room, but the irritation quickly passed. Out of habit, she ran a finger beneath the thin cream-colored scarf wrapped around her neck and half-consciously checked the size of the growth at the base of her throat. Before she could assess it further, someone knocked on the door, and Lena appeared. "Mama," Nestor called to his mother, "Aunt Antonia's reading to us." Lena did not seem to hear. She raised her hand, revealing an envelope. But it was the expression on Lena's face that made Antonia close the book in her lap. As her sister's gaze locked with hers, Antonia was again whisked back to Sadove High. They were back in their village orchards, back to the first days in the secret underground organization. Lena's and her first fight, but not their last battle. In the time it took Lena to close the space between the doorway and the bed, Antonia relived the torture in the Soviet secret police interrogation room and the terror of being captured by the SS. Lena's eyes reflected the value of unconditional love, forgiveness, and freedom's heavy toll. Antonia's heart clenched at the fear of breaking again. Lena knelt by the side of the bed as she did for her prayers, then extended the envelope. But Antonia had already seen the Red Cross emblem. She already understood that one of their men had finally been found. And that is the prologue from The Woman at the Gates with Neubauen Castle, 1945 Germany. This book is, or was cathartic for me to write. It was a great adventure. At the end of Souvenirs from Kiev, which is my short story collection, I had written that there might be one more book in all of this research that I've done about my family and the people in my Ukrainian American community, or communities, because actually there are quite a few of us in the US. And what I ended up doing was comprising a hodgepodge of all of these stories and these histories and this amazingly deft and heavily complicated political history of what happened in Ukraine during World War II. But I think I have served it up to make it an enjoyable, enriching, heart-gripping, for sure, and epic read. I hope you check it out. The pre-order's up. The release date is September 2nd. Thanks for listening. Ciao.